One question I often see within the Knights of the Old Republic fandom is, could so-and-so character beat Darth Nihilus? And when it comes to discussion around this character, people often jump to the idea that Darth Nihilus kind of instantly wins every fight that he's in simply because of who he is. So I thought in today's video we'll have a little look at Darth Nihilus, have a discussion, and answer a different question. How powerful was Darth Nihilus? Now, I've been a fan of Knights of the Old Republic 2 since I was 8 years old, and I've been arguing for Darth Nihilus' strength for just as long. But as I've grown older, I've also been on the opposite end and argued against Darth Nihilus' strength. But there is important information on both sides of the coin that I think needs to be taken into account. You need to be looking at the in-universe lore, the role he plays within the narrative, but you also need to take into account the opinion of the author, so in this case the writer Chris Avellone. Now, my interpretation has always been this. When it comes to Darth Nihilus, I like to consider it a game of rock, paper, scissors, and they are represented by 3 different things within the game: the Force, the Jedi Exile, and Darth Nihilus himself. Darth Nihilus represents the rock, while the Force and those who use it are scissors, and then we have wounds in the Force, which is paper. Darth Nihilus, being rock, always beats scissors. However, paper will always beat rock, which is why the Jedi Exile batters Darth Nihilus. It's not about power or strength. It's the simple purpose of rock within the game that it always beats scissors. So in this case, it's the simple purpose of Darth Nihilus to always beat Force users. It doesn't matter what kind of scissors they are or how strong they may be, rock will always beat them because that is rock's purpose. Do you see where I'm kind of going with this? I think this rock, paper, scissor analogy is the easiest way to generally explain how Nihilus is supposed to work within KOTOR 2. But there are so many factors around Darth Nihilus that we simply just don't know. One variable would be, could stronger Jedi resist the Force strain? Could people who studied him in the future have a little more information and learn how to counteract him? And then there are certain contradictions within the game that claim that Nihilus' drain is utterly unique, but then it's also said the ancient Sith Lords used it. And it's also claimed that the Sith assassins, if they reached the height of their power, could be like him. You see, there's so many unknown variables when it comes to Darth Nihilus that just make him a really unstable debate point. However, if we want to go to the second interpretation, which is feats, let's have a little discussion about those. In these arguments, people often bring up, well, this character has this ability to throw this amount of weight, and this person could ragdoll this person, and this person is this fast. However, some time ago I actually came across somebody who did a mathematical equation using certain in-universe numbers and applying them to our own rules of physics to determine how fast and how strong Nihilus could actually be. Now, I can't sit here and say I'm a mathematician and this is 100% right, and I can't say that the person who concluded this is a mathematician either. However, the conclusion of these sums was that Nihilus' telekinetic power would be around 3 trillion newtons of force, and his speed, if we take that into account, would be around 2,500 times the speed of light. So for people saying that he's just a mediocre Force user, you're kind of wrong. The ability to pull the Ravager out of Malakor's gravity well as then literally fly it through space using the Force, is totally determinant on his ability to output telekinetic power. Obviously, we don't know the specific details of the Ravager, so the person who came up with this theory took an Imperial Star Destroyer as an equivalent and then halved its weight and speed to make it a little bit fairer. Now, as for the speed, we know that Nihilus himself isn't a physical being, so he's not constrained to actual biology. So if he is able to exert that level of strength using the Force on the Ravager, his speed is determined by his ability to apply Force to himself. But I throw those kind of numbers out and you see how kind of silly it sounds. Nihilus, in terms of his general strength, should technically break the laws of physics. But I don't like to use this in an argument or these numbers because it's just obscene. People often point to Starkiller pulling down a Star Destroyer as a one singular feat of utter badassery, But my guy Nihilus literally took this to the next level, and we could see how much strain and exertion it puts on Starkiller in the game, and Nihilus does it without effort, really. But like I said, using these numbers, it's just kinda silly to me, which is why I prefer to take a thematic or narrative-driven approach to the actual character. And despite my rock, paper, scissors analogy, you do have some counter-arguments from the author himself. Now, Chris Avellone, the writer of both KOTOR 2's main storyline as well as Darth Nihilus as a character, has been on record multiple times saying that he believes Revan would easily beat Darth Nihilus. And while this personally confuses me, one has to take into account that this man wrote the character. He determined him to be a certain kind of way, but this is still his belief despite that. So I've given you 3 different interpretations of Darth Nihilus's power, and I don't think you could explicitly state one or the other being an objective truth, that being the thematic interpretation, the in-universe, feat-based interpretation, let's call it, and then kind of a mixture of both but with the author's interpretation. My rock, paper, scissors analogy can easily be countered by the fact that the author is on record saying that Revan could easily beat Nihilus, a simple Force user. But then, at the same time, there is nothing to suggest that what Revan could do in terms of his feats outclasses what Nihilus does with the Ravager. And this is why I generally steer clear of Nihilus discussions and debates nowadays, because there's just not enough information. Obviously, there was a lot of story that was cut from Knights of the Old Republic 2 regarding Nihilus, but the character is just so generally obscure that it's really hard to discuss him. Which is why I don't think anybody is actually wrong when it comes to having a discussion about him. If you are somebody that likes to argue his role within the narrative as the antithesis of the Force, I think you have a very valid argument, just as I think many people have a valid argument when they talk about feats and when they talk about Chris Avellone saying certain things. I personally think that's why Chris Avellone doesn't go on to explain how Revan would beat him. He likes to keep it obscure, he likes to keep people talking and coming up with their own conclusions, because it's what's kept KOTOR 2 alive all these years. We're still arguing about Darth Nihilus' strength 20 years later, and that's really a testament to the intrigue of KOTOR 2 as a story. However, I do want to know what you think in the comments below. Do you think that Nihilus was the all-encompassing figure of death in the Star Wars universe? Or do you think that other characters would be able to clap his cheeks without breaking a sweat? Let me know below. Now, for the past few weeks, I've done nothing but heavily scripted videos, so I thought I'd break it up a little bit and do something unscripted, talking about something that I find entertaining and creating a discussion around a character that I know so many of us love. And I know a lot of you enjoy these kind of unscripted rambling videos just about certain topics, so if you do have a topic that you would like to see me talk about or cover, let me know too, because who knows, I might cover your idea in the future. As always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to see more Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic content from me. And while you're here, don't forget to come and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and join the Discord server because I would love to have you there. And if you'd like to support the channel a little bit further, perhaps consider taking a look at Patreon. All links are in the description below. I'll see you guys in the next video. But until then, may the Force be with you. Always.